Welcome to Wine Road, the wine, when, and where of Northern Sonoma County. I'm your host, Marcy Gordon, with Beth Costa, Executive Director of the Wine Road.
Thanks to Ron Rubin, we're able to keep our podcast rolling along. The financial support of River Road Family Vineyards and Winery allows us to keep recording, keep sipping wine, and keep sharing stories with our listeners. Check out their website at riverroadvineyards.com and explore their Chardonnay, as well as a finely crafted Pinot Noir from the Russian River Valley. That's riverroadvineyards.com. And hey, thanks, Ron, for allowing us to make this show happen.
Welcome to episode 247. Today our guest is Sidney Hunter, and she's an all-time fan of barrel tasting, a great customer, and she's here to tell us about her barrel tasting experience and why you should go. Welcome, Sidney.
Hey, Sidney, I'm super excited that you're here. So this is Beth, and I met Sidney via another mutual friend of ours that is also in the hospitality business. And although I met Sidney as a customer, we actually have become friends. She comes to all of our events. My husband, we meet up with her and her sisters, and we have a good time together. And Sidney is really a fan of barrel tasting. So I thought, instead of my telling listeners about barrel tasting, I would let a customer talk about barrel tasting. So how many times do you think you've been up here for barrel tasting?
Oh, my goodness. I would say probably 15.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I was looking at all my wine glasses.
You should have a medal.
Looking at all your wine glasses.
She should be bestowed Customer of the Century.
Yeah, exactly. So what is it about barrel tasting? I mean, I know from experience that you actually are a customer who buys futures also at a lot of wineries. So what is it about the whole idea of barrel tasting that you find interesting, and what compels you to buy futures?
Well, I have so many great favorites. And so it's always a wonderful experience to go to some of my favorites, some of the varietals I follow. So it's, year after year, they have been consistent in producing great wine. So I always have the favorites, and then it's nice to try new things, new wineries, and so, it's kind of a hit or miss, but I have to say, majority of the time, I go to my, whether it's, a Malbec or a Cab, I like trying new things. And I think the most important, I love the experience of meeting the winemakers, and they talk about it, and the staff is very informed, and they tell you what you're going to taste, and, it's the overall experience. And so that's what makes it fun.
Well, and I think, you've been coming, like you said, for about 15 years to you seem to come to all three of our big events, but for barrel tasting, it's for sure the winemakers are there. So at this point, I've been with you, and like you walk in the door and you know people I don't know. And I always love when we sit down and you say, well, so-and-so at this winery or that winery. I'm thinking, no.
Sidney, you're like the barrel tasting ambassador.
I know. She is.
Well, I go with my sisters, and that, that's funny because they say that. But I love that the staff at so many of the wineries, they're consistently there.
Yeah.
So you don't see a lot of turnover. So that's what makes it fun, too. I remember them. They remember me.
Right.
And I may not know everyone's name, but it does feel very family.
Yeah.
Everyone there is, they're knowledgeable. And I also sometimes they'll say, this isn't part of barrel tasting, but we want you to try this and compare this. And so they'll throw things, different tastings in there sometimes. If you say, not quite my taste, they'll throw, we'll try this. And I always end up coming home with more stuff than I had planned.
You're just dialing in your palate for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
And barrel tasting is one of the few events that's truly interactive. Yeah. Right? You're going into the barrel, you're tasting from these futures. It's a different kind of experience that is not like any regular tasting. So it's very special.
Yes. And a lot of times when it's good out of the barrel, you're thinking, oh, it's going to be even better when it's bottled. So I'm like, it's ready now.
I have occasionally had some in the barrel that I think, oh my God, I would definitely buy this today. Like I would drink this today. It's amazing. So is that, I think that people hesitate to buy futures because you're giving the winery money today, but you're going home empty-handed. So you have to really love the wine. When you're making that decision, is it because you do love the way it tastes right now? Or do you feel like at this point you know the winery well enough and you feel like it will evolve? Or, what gives you the confidence to turn over some money and go home with, without any wine that day?
I like the fact that, yes, if I am tasting it out of the barrel and it does, my palate is, and it's nice with the tasting. But I like oftentimes they will say, here is 2023,
right,
and you can compare.
Right.
And, that always is helpful. And a lot of the wineries will do that.
Yeah.
So you kind of, I like, I'll just say there is, oh my goodness, Soda Rock. Mm-hmm. I love wedding cake. And so consistently year over year, I have purchased wedding cake out of the barrel.
Right.
And, there are quite a few. Carol Shelton, same thing. Certain ones that I go to and I'm saying, this is perfect because I know consistently year over year. And she's there to tell you about it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Carol's the best.
And and so, I love that when the staff or the winemaker is very consistent and they're telling you that it's going to be even, better. And so, and then when you pick it up, you're so anxious to open it, and I'm kind of like, I'll let it lay down for another year before I open it,
Oh my gosh.
There's some that, then there's some that I just say, nope, not waiting. I'm going right in.
Okay, so I'm going to tell on Sidney. She was up here in, I think, the end of October, somewhere around there, and she was going to be taking a little vacation. So before she took her vacation, she wanted to pick up all of her futures that were ready at that time. So she told me that by the time she picked up all of her futures, her trunk of her car and her backseat of her car were full of so many cases. She was worried leaving her car parked in the hotel at night because she was so much wine in her car.
Well, and that's what got me in trouble because so many of the wineries then had additional sales.
Oh, yeah.
That,
they saw you coming.
They saw me coming, and I was doing the pickup, and they was like, well, do you want to taste? And I was like, no, not really. No, just taste. Oh, I'm like, okay. And
if you insist.
If you insist. You twisted my arm. And then they say, well, we've got this case sale, and it's lovely because I have my sisters. So I'm immediately calling my sisters and texting like, hey, I'm doing our pickup, but they've got a sale. They're like, yes, let's share. We'll split the cost. So, I was picking up futures, and then I was also making more purchases. Yeah. It was pretty bad. They were helping me to the car, and they're like, are you going to be okay with all of this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll be fine. So.
Oh, my gosh. I love that. My husband and I have met up with you and your sisters, and you guys are so funny because it's like, we'll bring a little food, we'll picnic along the way. And like, to me, that's like, I bring a bag of chips. I meet up with you guys, and the ice chests come out, and we have full charcuterie and salads. And I'm like, my husband always wants to know, is Sidney coming?
Right.
He marks it on the calendar.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's so funny. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, we do a really good job. We were just there for Winter Wineland, and I think people they wanted to join our party.
I am sure they did.
We would come in and we're sitting out on the picnic tables, or wherever. My sister whips out her pretty tablecloth, and we have it well organized. Who's bringing what.
Oh my God!
And it's pretty funny. And we're like, come on over. And they're like, are you sure? We're like, come on over. We've got plenty.
Making friends. Now you guys you're organized. I mean, you definitely know it's like a military action. Sidney knows where she's going. She has 2 days. She has a program. It's highlighted and circled, and we've got the stars next to the ones you can't miss.
You've got a plan.
She's got a plan. So,
Yes.
like, I can't, I don't have favorites because, I love all my wineries, but you can have favorites. You come here all the time. You come here when it's an event. When it's not an event, you come just for the fun of wine tasting. What are some places that you try to always get to?
It just depends. I am a big fan of Wilson and the Wilson family and all of their wineries that participate in that group. And I have to honestly say I haven't made it to all of them. And that's kind of one of my plans in 2026 is, I am a wine club member of Mazzocco, and so it's nice that, it encompasses so many other wineries.
If you're a club member at any of their wineries, you get the benefits at all of them.
Exactly.
That's really nice.
Mm-hmm. And so many of those have become some of our favorites. And Colagrossi, because I do love a lot of his Italian varietals.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was a wonderful experience when we were just there because I actually fell in love with one of his new bottles. And so we all came out with 2 bottles, and Craig said, I wish you guys were here every day. Like, yeah, I bet you do.
Well, and Craig is a doll, so that's fun. I love to support him.
Yeah. And so that's always fun. And, and it's always just kind of like, it's going to start to warm up. And we knew VML has a wonderful rosé and a wonderful sparkling.
Oh, yeah.
Williams and Vine, Yoakum Bridge.
Oh, yeah. They do a great job.
Another great sparkling. And so, we were there. And I think when I reached out to you, Beth, we were at Kokomo, which is another one of my favorites. And so it was nice to go to Kokomo, make our purchases. And then while we were there, we said, you know what, let's just explore all of the other
well, my gosh. Yeah, there's Peterson and M4 and Papa Pietro.
Yeah, you're right there.
Optima does a really fun job. Yeah.
And so, I think my mom always says, oh, my goodness, aren't you guys drunk by the time you go? And I said, no, because I don't taste every single thing.
Right.
There's certain ones that I just a splash, and then there's others where I lean towards, my favorites, or, if I want a nice cab, or if I just want a Merlot or something. So, but I don't taste every single thing that is being poured.
So that's what I do too. If I'm at a winery and there's something that I know for sure I like from this winery, I might try that. Or I'll try something new that they've just released that I haven't had before. But I won't taste 6 wines at a winery. It's I can't manage that for the day. So our list is online for the participating wineries for barrel tasting. So you hopefully have your red pen out and you're circling where you have to go.
Well, I asked my sisters, I said, when we go to barrel tasting, you've been with me now I think for them, this is probably, Beth, maybe 5 years for them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, okay, I'm the little sister. They're my big sisters. I said, each of you get to, I want you to pick something.
Yeah.
Pick one new place and pick your favorite.
Right.
And each one of you have to come up with something different. I said, don't worry about the mapping.
Yeah.
Because as Beth said, I always start at the furthest point, and then we work our way back down.
Exactly.
And then on the last day, we stay relatively close to where we're departing or where I'm staying in Sonoma County.
Right.
And then that way we hit the freeway and we're headed home.
Heading home.
So
sound advice.
So
Good
I'm
plan.
excited to see how they've been taking notes.
Yeah.
And they were so cute on Sunday at breakfast. they were writing their notes on and putting down which ones they liked and this.
Right.
And I said, "Oh, you're doing so good." They're like, "We have homework."
That is so cute.
I mean, if you don't take some notes, it is a blur at the end. I mean, you think, well, I'm never going to forget that place. It was amazing. But then later you start looking at a list, you think, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name, or I can't remember where it was.
There's a lot of information.
Yeah, there's a lot. And, you taste so many wines that you love them while you're tasting them. But, by the end of the day, it's hard to remember it unless you need notes. You need notes.
I have been at several of the events, and I'm always talking to people. Beth knows this.
I know.
I like, but like, where are you coming from? Where are you visiting from?
Right.
And I love the fact that so many people fly in.
Yeah.
For barrel tasting.
Right.
I'm always telling them, I said, well, if you're on Alaska, you can take a case and the airline will work with you. And they're like, I didn't know that.
Right.
So I love the fact that people are experiencing this, and some are new to it and some are very consistent. They say, I come every year, and they come from all over the United States. I love that. But I love the fact that I can hear, other people saying, come on, we got to go because, this is going to be our 8th or 10th one.
Oh, my gosh,
thinking,
yeah.
Why?
Right.
I mean, you're missing the experience of what this is all about. And that's why I really, I'm like, it's not about how many, it's about quality and what you're going to experience.
It's not a race.
Yeah,
no, it is
right.
not a race.
That's what I love about, I joke about your guys' picnic, but I mean, I think if you really want to enjoy it, that is the way to do it. The vineyards are beautiful that time of year, depending, on the rain that we have or haven't had, by the time barrel tasting rolls around. But normally the wild mustard is starting to bloom by then. So, I mean, it's beautiful. So take time at each winery to kind of look around and enjoy the space and take time to have a legitimate lunch and think about where you've been so far and what your next plan is. And yeah, I think that you do want to really enjoy it and talk about the winemakers that you just met and, what they had to say about the event or the wines that they have in the barrel and kind of embrace the whole experience. Yeah, I feel bad. I talk to people too. I went to 17 wineries. I think that was not fun.
No, it's not.
And they don't remember where they even went or, nothing made an impression. It was just a race. So it's like you really want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm excited this year because we have also lowered the price to $50. That's a deal.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
I know.
Really good. Wow.
It's our 50th anniversary.
Well, we are Rainer sign. My sisters and I we always say, in fact, for winter wineland, it's normally rainy and wet.
Yeah.
So it's always been, our style. We're like, okay, we've got rain boots, we've got our poncho, we've got our scarves, we've got our beanies. We are good to go.
We're dedicated.
So
saw one of your pictures, you with Susie Selby. Stopped there by their tasting room, and
Yes, love her, love her, and she's gonna have her new old vine coming. It's gonna be in the barrel. She purchased the grapes in October, or harvesting, and some new grapes she purchased, and she harvested those this past October, and she will have it in the barrel because I love a good old vine, and so she always does a wonderful product. So I'm looking forward to seeing her, and she's just a sweetheart. Just love her.
She is a doll, and I do love so many of her wines. All the different varietals. She really does a really nice job, and they're wines I can afford, and she does a really nice job with them. And she's, like you said, she's always there for events. You're going to be meeting the winemaker and the owner, and that's super cool. Anything else people need to know about barrel tasting? Any other tips you have, Sidney?
Just be prepared to have a good time. It's always, just a good experience, and you learn so much. And even if you're not a wine enthusiast or an expert, it's a great way to get experience tasting different wines and finding out what's your taste and what's not your taste, and that's okay.
Exactly.
It's just a lovely time, and you'll meet the winemakers and the owners and the staff, and have a good time. Bring your food. pack your
Yeah, yeah.
And we love, that general market, the general store.
There's, out in Dry Creek, there's a Dry Creek General Store, and then in town, there's Big John's Market. So both of them are great places to stock up.
Windsor, whenever we stay in Windsor, we go to Oliver's.
You go to Oliver's Market.
Yeah, we get our sandwiches, or we get whatever, little salads and stuff. And so, just pack a little lunch bag and
that makes it great.
Pack your chocolates, because you also have some really nice, dessert wines you can pair with your chocolates, and easy to carry. So, I love my food too, as you can tell. So.
I think Sidney could sell tickets to be with her at these events.
I know.
You could have your own mini tour, Sidney. I mean, I would I'd buy a ticket to follow you and your sisters. That sounds wonderful.
It is fun.
Well, I post on Facebook, and then I have, my circle of friends, and they're like, I want to go up there with you. And I'm like, you can. Yeah. Here's the website. Buy your tickets. Yeah. So, I have a couple of colleagues. They always buy their tickets. And I'm like, let me know where you're going to be, and we can connect and go on your way. But, so.
How fun.
You got to go. You got to experience it. It's a wonderful time.
Well, hopefully I can make it work for barrel tasting, and Greg certainly will want me to make it work for barrel tasting.
Absolutely.
That we can connect with you and have some fun. And hopefully you bring your sisters. So,
they're looking forward to it. We've already booked our hotel room.
Planning ahead.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for calling in, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Sidney.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye. So I did just want to mention that the tickets for barrel tasting are on sale, but they end in just a few days. They actually end on Monday, March 2nd. Ticket sales end. And I'd mentioned talking to Sidney that the tickets are $50 for the weekend, which is a really amazing deal. If you go online to wineroad.com, you'll see the wineries that are participating. I think we ended up with about 60 maybe. And there's also quite a few of them that are offering tasting on Friday. And you wouldn't be checking in on Friday. The event starts on Saturday morning. So you check in on Saturday morning, get your wristband and your glass at whatever winery you choose to check in on when you order your ticket. But if you have your ticket on your phone, then on Friday you can also do tasting at, there's probably about 30 wineries listed on Friday. So if you're close enough and you can come up here on Friday, you can make it a 3-day event for you for a $50 ticket. That is a deal. And that is because, and I will say this for the 1 millionth time, it's our 50th anniversary for the Wine Road.
Yay.
I mean, that is a huge big deal. Before there were AVAs, there was the Wine Road. So
golden anniversary.
It's our golden anniversary. When we had our 40th, it was so much work. We did so many events.
Ruby.
And I thought, oh my God, I'm definitely not going to be here for the 50th. And like, look, here I am.
You're still here.
I'm still here. Still plugging along. So I also was going to mention that we started a few weeks ago our Sip Into the Weekend program, which we had done in 2025, and people really seemed to love it, and the wineries liked it. Sip Into the Weekend is every Thursday and Friday. There's about 30 wineries that offer complimentary tasting. You don't need a reservation. You don't need a ticket. You just show up at the wineries. The list is online of who's participating, and you just say you are here for the, Sip Into the Weekend for the Wine Road, and it's complimentary tasting. There's also a few wineries on there that are doing 2-for-1 tasting. So this is every Thursday and Friday from now until the end of 2026. So check that out, wineroad.com, and you should check it out just before you come, because I feel like I'm adding wineries almost every week. So, make sure you're looking at the most current list. So I think that's it. Sip Into the Weekend, get your barrel tasting tickets, and I think that's a wrap, sister. That's a wrap.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you.